Astra Militarum reinforcements. The changing nature of war in the Era Indomitus. Welcome, gentle listener. I am Baldermort, your faithful servant, and I wish to introduce you to the forces, factions, and war gear of the Warhammer 40k universe, the grim darkness of the far future, where there is no time for peace. There is only time for war. And no, I'm not an AI. And today, we shall be exploring some of the new lighter vehicles of the Astra Militarum, the Imperial Guard. What they are, what they do, and what it means that they are now taking center stage in the conflicts of the Era Indomitus. As usual, I will regale you with a wee tale to whet the appetite and show, not just tell, how these weapons are used in the conflicts of the dark future. Story continued from Taurus Rsv's Tau plotline. Little blue boys don't know what they've let themselves in for. Oh no, they do not. There's a big difference between winning a battle, winning a world, and then holding it. Poor blueberries ain't made for this. No, they are not. They don't know it yet. But we are going to teach them that every hour of every day. I almost feel sorry for them. Well, I would, if they were not filthy Xenos. They think we're all slow. Everything human is heavy and sluggish. Boy, were they in for a surprise. We've been thumped on the open field. They tore us to ribbons. No point in denying the truth. But it ain't over. Not by a long chalk. The thing is, the blueberries haven't got the stomach for a real scrap. Oh, they're great at stinging groks, coming in and hitting our emplacements and disappearing. But now, the shoe is on the other foot. And they're the ones who are in charge now, or so they think. They're the ones having to hold static positions and worry about supply lines. They're the ones having to patrol the cities and the undergrowth. And I don't think they get it. Oh, they're brave enough. No arguing that one. But I don't think they understand hate. And we got that in spades. More than enough to share. You see, the Blue Boys don't like casualties. They don't like horror. They think that when someone is beaten in battle, that they'll just roll over and sue for peace. You know, the logical thing. Be good little thralls. They don't know us at all, do they? Logistics and logic, arms and ambushes. They're good at that. But dirty? They have no idea what they've let themselves in for. I wonder how they'll maintain their cool and composure when the bodies rack up. And their greater good ain't going to seem so attractive when we show them to be hypocrites. Because there's only one way to deal with an insurrection, and I don't think they've got the stones for it. Even if they do, there'll be no escaping the truth. That they ain't no better than the Imperium. All their high-minded talk of cooperation is going to look even worse when they are forced to get nasty themselves. So, we hit them, everywhere and nowhere. Give them a taste of their own medicine. But of course, we don't just plunge in the knife. We give it the old Imperial twist as we drag it out. But it's the traitors we targeted first, made a noise, sent a message. Time for the blueberries to show their true colours. Mindless optimists who just don't know how the universe works. But we are changing that. Oh yes, we are. Giving them a very thorough lesson. Now our lads behind the lines are doing a fantastic job. These boys strung up a good few of them who's thrown in with the invaders. Their morning patrols are a lot less jolly when they see their turncoats swinging in the breeze. Of course, the boys who did this then donned the Givasser armour and weapons and turned up at a few places, high-profile, mass propaganda events, and unleashed their little Xenos guns into the turncoat crowds. Blue boys went mental, didn't know what to do, shoot their own pet humans, or let them get on with it. The carnage was horrible, of course, but that's an insurrection for you. First thing we have to do is put some steel back into the spines of our own people. Take out the traitors. Make it harder to work with their Tau overlords than it is to do what's right, and resist them. The look on the ethereal's face was precious. Just as he's giving his big speech, whip cracks go off from his own lines and men start exploding. Whenever I get the shots from bad rations, I put that particular image on loop while emptying my bowels. Ratty boys have been amazing for what it's worth. Now the big feets get a lot of stick for being pilferers and peculators, always rolling about fat when the rest of us are getting thinner. But in this sort of thing, they have come up trumps. Just like they did when we broke out of pokey. Head of day keeps the blueberries away. They're good snipers. They've been punishing the Tau something fierce. Where once a Tau be strutting down streets trying to build bridges, showing largesse and loveliness to their new cattle. Now, they cruise down the road in their skimmers, nary an unarmoured face to be seen, and faceless foes are the easiest to hate, you see. So, when one of those blue turds takes off a helmet, stops to give someone a hug, his head becomes a canoe. Doubly so for their Gefasser traitors. But after the very public bloodbath, they ain't using them no more. Tau can't really tell us apart, it seems. Ha! We all look the same to them. And trust me, the feeling's mutual. Couldn't tell a blueberry apart, even when their heads are on spikes. So, they can't trust no one that is human no more. Just as it should be. But it's not all grot and grunge, cheap shots and decapitations. Nah, we are pricking them on the daily. Again, they thought we were slow. Now our Malcador, like Bonus Bill, is in the shop getting fixed up, making the old gal pretty again. So, me and the lads are getting into the mud, showing the others how it's done. Frostroy and Fuzzy Tops ain't pleased at first. They do so like their lines of battle, honour, swords and slaughter, eh? But they do buckle under. Every man counts, every kill counts. When we get them there, those fuzzies fight like 10 PDF. Right tasty in a scrap, as usual, just like before. And the fury they bring is every bit as full-blooded as that displayed by our remaining Kree horsey boys. Those maniacs keep charging tanks. Emperor love 'em, mostly do the job too. But we talked to 'em, explained it all. Now ain't the time for valour, now is the time for precision and forced pursuits. You see, me and the lads have got ourselves an old hippogriff, and she is mighty light-footed, I can tell you. To be honest, it took us a few weeks to get used to her, but now, I am not sure I won't get a groan when we go back to the Malcador. The lads have so enjoyed the sweep of her dress, the speed in her stride, and she has it where it counts. We've been teamed up with 3 other ladies of the same mark, each one of us having a different beat stick. One has a Chiron to gun down blueberries who spill out of their transports. One has a Vigilator cannon for denting and dementing the midline armour of the enemy. One has the las cannon for punching through their biggest armour and inviting them into the fray. But us, we get the bestest of all. Now I can't lie, it's the riskiest of all the roles, because we got to get right up personal with the enemy. But when our melty arrays unleash their juice all over the Tau heavies, they do indeed melt like ice in a desert. Faster even. We use the long-range las cannon to gain their attention. Their little patrols then dart towards us. Then the Vigilator barks out. Blue boys come running in to mop us up, you see. The first 2 make a run for it into cover, back into tree lines. forcing the Tau to come in close hunting for them. Then out we pop, blowing their flanks to pieces, melting them down. And, as stated, when the blueberries, the Tau, come rolling out of their cans, the Chiron then does for 'em. There ain't nothing like watching them dance as they're shot to pieces. And it doesn't end there. We placed a load of ratty boys and vets near their airfields. They send out the vids to the rest of us when they're done. As we strike the Tau, their pilots all came rushing out to jump into their fast attack fighters. Ratty boys took out the stragglers at the back of the lines. The vets then shot the Tau flyers as they were taking off. Why not just bust them on the ground, I hear you think? Well, there's a certain special joy in watching them blow up and spread debris all over their pretty little landing fields. And with each passing day, those pilots are moving slower to get to their craft. Now they don't run across to them. They have to wait for a transport to take them closer. They send out hundreds of drones to try and spot our lads before their little transports even pick up the pilots now. So, this delays matters. And just one ratty boy with a sniper can make an entire wing of Tau hide in their barracks for minutes before they finally get the all clear to come out to play. Those little droney things can't find the ratty boys. And this means that we can now take things a bit more aggressively. If their aerial support is always delayed, it gives us a lot more leeway to play. The last few bashes we tore into their transports and then rolled in centaurs chock full of fuzzies. Vostroyans got into them and beat 7 shades out of the blueberries, forced them back into a ravine where Kriegy horsey boys chased them down like they were orcs. It was hilarious. And we were up and gone before the oh-so-delayed Tau support even arrived on the horizon. I hate to say it, but I am almost happy we lost that big Barney. The fun we are having now is simply not to be missed. And the end game, the long haul. All we need to do is make it so unpleasant for them to be here, and they will pick up sticks and bugger off. They ain't like us. They don't exterminate us planets. They just tuck tail and wander off. These little Xenos, these Tau, these blueberries, should have stayed home. They've no idea what they've let themselves in for. Now, as these units are so new, there really is a dearth of information about them. So let's just peruse what has been printed about them by their creators, Games Workshop. To quote: the Hyppogriff Afv, Swift Armoured Killer. These light armoured fighting vehicles, or AFVs, provide highly mobile fire support for armoured formations, artillery batteries, and similar powerful but all too unwieldy elements of the Imperial Guard. Many enemies expecting easy kills against lumbering war engines have been caught out by the agility and punishing firepower Hippogriffs can bring to bear. The Hyppogriff is a compact but well-armoured combat vehicle. Its sturdy frame surmounts 6 armoured wheels mounted on independent powered servo axles. These provide maximum manoeuvrability, acceleration, and a capability to scramble over the roughest debris. Squadrons of Hippogriffs are often deployed as screens for heavier tank formations. Armoured columns and formations cannot turn en masse swiftly, making it harder for them to respond to suddenly emergent threats at a company or even squadron level. Should a flanking attack be detected, these vehicles can repeatedly alter their positions, facing and speed, and even race through gaps in allied armoured columns to intercept the enemy's attack angles. When an attack comes, Hippogriffs surge into the fray to hammer enemy attackers and buy time for their larger wards to redress their formations to meet the threat or press onward towards their targets. Allied to their impressive speed, Hippogriffs can mount a range of firepower to deal with many threats. The high explosive shells of Vigilator cannons and the reaping firepower of Chiron Gatling cannons and heavy stubbers make for a potent combination, driving back or eliminating light armor and infantry, while las and melter cannons provide enough destructive power for a Hippogriff to hold its own against heavier enemy assets. The Hippogriff's speed, firepower and capacity to deal with challenging battlefield terrains means that their squadrons serve in varied roles. Some are sent on patrol details and short-range scouting missions to locate and assess enemy positions. Others launch swift flank attacks, carry out route finding for super-heavy armored divisions, or act as exceptional convoy escorts. The vehicle is light enough to be airlifted beneath Valkyrie sky talons, as they are common amongst Elysian regiments and the elite Tempestus Aquilons, who often need heavy firepower to overcome enemy armor. Where these shock infantry have seized bridgeheads ahead of the main advance, air-landed hippogriffs or separate squadrons deployed over land can assist these lightly armored troops in holding off better-equipped enemies long enough for reinforcements to arrive and secure the bridgehead. The Centaur Rsv, workhorse of the infantry. Dedicated assault transports as blunt, practical and unceremonious as most Imperial Guardsmen, Centaur RSVs or rapid strike vehicles are well-light battlefield armoured conveyors. These carriers are the pistons that drive straightforward regimental manoeuvres and shuttle platoons, companies or entire battle lines through enemy fire to secure new positions swiftly. Amongst the most common armoured infantry transports deployed by the Imperial Guard, the Centaur Rsv is a rugged half-track. It is suited to the debris-strewn mires that blanket battlefields of the Era Indomitus. Its broad treads are capable of traction over churned strata of corpses and tainted rubble thrown up by bombardments. Meanwhile, its engine gives it the power to haul its cargo between defensive positions reliably. Such advantages are sorely needed. The Centaur's lighter armor, sparse armament and Spartan construction make it a relatively fast transport. Its most significant value lies in its ease of manufacture and use, enabling large numbers to be produced and troops swiftly trained to drive them, even on worlds riven by incessant conflict. Centaurs are an incredibly adaptable pattern of transport. Across the Imperial Guard, forge-sanctioned and cannibalized variants exist in roles such as artillery tractor, munitions hauler, field ambulance, and mobile comm shrine. While most specialized mechanized infantry regiments utilize more heavily armed and armored transports, the abundance of centaurs and the ability of the Imperial war machine to replace them swiftly ensure that most renowned mechanized formations train and fight from these more widely available assault vehicles, notably the miasman 374th Fire Lancers and Handguards Company of the Cadian 52nd Mechanized. The Centaur's reliability has earned it a reputation for possessing a doughty and valiant machine spirit. The Centaur Rsv has only moderate armor, enough to shield its cargo of soldiers from most small arms fire. The transport's numerous firing hatches enable embarked soldiers to unleash searing fusillades of firepower on the move. When their destination is reached, disembarkation from the open-topped design, aided by side hatches and a rear ramp, can be honed to split seconds by trained soldiers. This enables them to swarm positions, while the Centaur provides covering fire from its pintle-mounted heavy stubber, or rapidly swings around to race back to the rear lines on another blitzing transport run. End quote. The Hippogriff. Now what is not to like about this mighty mouse? For it is swift and can be oh so deadly. The armaments are a cornucopia of destruction. Their standard layout is a vigilator cannon, a nasty piece of kit that can rip heavy infantry to pieces and tear down a heavier tank if the odds are in your favor. Yummy. But they can replace this weapon with a heavy las cannon for precision destructive punch, a Chiron Gatling cannon for spray and pray against blocks of infantry or horde formations, or, and you know how I feel about this one, the melter cannon. Melty, melty. Each has a heavy stubber for crowd control, which can also be swapped out for a standard melter. Melty, 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 ahoy! with the swiftness to get anywhere it needs to on the battlefield, and the nimbleness to evade return fire by sneaking back into cover after unleashing its payload of whoop. This feels almost as delectable as an Eldar firing platform for maneuverability. Pop out to fire, then lunge back into cover. A formidable piece of kit indeed. And I will continue this comparison as we continue to the Taurus Rsv. Again, a swift vehicle used as a troop carrier, of course. It can, according to the details I have, carry a full squad of up to 12 soldiers. But the real fun is that it is open-topped, as we put it in previous editions, RE, which is now, of course, the firing platform. All of the lads inside can fire their weapons out in any direction. Okay, it's made of papier-mâché and spit according to its statistics, so it acts so much like a Dark Eldar raider, a swift transport that gets your men there and allows them to pepper the foe in a wonderful drive-by. Simply put, being a foot-slogger in the new warfare of the Era Indomitus is not a thing to laud. And, of course, it goes to show the change in the disposition and very role of the Astra Militarum, the Imperial Guard. Before, in the era of the Imperium, the emphasis was always on defense. Huge formations of Leman Russ battle tanks, Baneblades, and the like, all holding strategic points, punishing the enemy as they always came on. They always on the attack. Oh, they could be used just as effectively on the aggress, but it was the Taurus and Chimera which brought the men to battle, indicating a need to protect them from heavy bombardment and slowly grind down the enemy with overwhelming firepower from Stormlords, Wyverns, Basilisks and Deathstrike type heavy firepower. You see, the Imperium fought over hive cities and choke points of high worth. Sieges and set pieces were their bread and butter, their meat and to veg, so to put it. But now, with the construction power of the Forge Worlds being shifted to these swift strike vehicles, it shows a fundamental change in the very purpose of the Guard. Yes, these vehicles can be used to protect the vast columns of heavier tanks as they push forward, but they can also swiftly rush around a world, tying up enemy formations, hit and run, and lightning charges for set locations. It shows that the Era Indomitus is not business as usual, even for the Guard. The Space Marines have developed from a casual Swiss Army knife with their reliance on tactical Marines, to a specialist force not only for decapitation strikes, but for full-blown battles. Now the Guard join them in this new era with the ability and mandate to not only just hold the line, but to invade, to attack, and to hunt down and destroy the foe wherever they can find them. The Hippogriff and Centaur prove more than any other war gear, humanity is back on the offensive. For any Primarch knows one simple truism: the best defense is a good offense. Now, if you want to hear some advice on how to deploy and utilize these tiny terrors, do check out Mordian Glory, the top Imperial Guard aficionado on YouTube. Links to his channel in the description. He's a good lad, had a chat with him the other day, and I'm quite sure you'll like his videos. I have been Baldermort, your faithful servant. Like, subscribe, and sling me a buck if you are so motivated. With the ever-increasing number of lore champions out there, it is lamentably true that if you do not support your favourite creator, whomever they may be, you may well lose them, because supply now far outreaches demand. And, of course, most importantly of all, no matter what you do today, do try to make some time for fun. Toodaloo.